kind of slow. Just review a little bit. You know, we tend to forget a lot over the summer. I mean, I know I do. I forget things, right? Like here I am trying to figure out the Zoom thing, right? Because I forgot how, or I'm not in the habit of doing it. So, you know, there's always that learning curve when we go back to school, right? Okay, so let me switch up my background. And so remember, you guys, every day when you come in, there will be a little like warm up exercise behind me. And that's kind of what we need to do. You can unmute or you can pop it in the chat, whatever, while we wait for everybody to log in the mornings, right? So mi nombre es Señora Rovello, right? My name is Mrs. Rovello. You can call me Miss Rovello. You can call me Miss R. You can call me whatever you want to call me, as long as you're being nice. Down here, clase, hoy es miércoles, right? It's Wednesday, el 6 agosto, the 6th of August. So we're not going to do review things like days of the week and and whatever, right? You're going to see in my backgrounds just stuff every day to help us remember things. I mean, that's the easiest way to do it, right? So backgrounds are important. So repasemos, right? We're going to review. What I would like for all of us to do is to create a Spanish folder. If you have one from last year, then your job is to try to locate it, okay? And then we're going to try to get these review activities done. Remember, you guys, I always overplan. So just because you see a big old list like this doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get to it. It's just a habit I have where I just like, you know, let's say, for example, my first activity up here wasn't working. Well, then we can just go down. So I always have like one extra thing, basically, right? Now, if we get through it all, that's great. That's good for us. Okay, no problem. But don't ever feel like overwhelmed. This is sort of a bucket list, right? Okay. All right. So first thing that we need to do, y'all, is go to our Google Drive. Do we know how to access our Google Drive? And you want to try to make sure that you access your school Google, right? Good morning, Arshad. ¿Cómo estás? Bien. So let's let's access our school Google, okay? Do we know how to do that? Some of us are new to the school. So Brooklyn, Malaysia, I don't know if y'all know how to get to that Google Drive. I can see you on Go Guardian, you know, so if you have a question, let me know and I can just check it out there and help you. Jo Marion, can you find your Google Drive? Arshad, we're headed into our Google Drive. Malaysia. Brooklyn, how about you? Do you know how to access that? I see you have a Google Drive, Brooklyn, so we just need to, are you there? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to share my screen real quick with y'all. Okay. All right, so this is what mine looks like, right? Nothing exciting. Okay. And I'm going to assume y'all know how to make a folder. But if you don't, just come up here to new. And then you'll get a drop down and it'll say new folder. So you'll click that and it'll ask you to title it. So I would put Spanish. Okay. And then create. And then what you'll see is like a thing pop up here, right, with the folder. And so whenever you download something or have to upload something in class and you're not finished with it, or it's something that you need to save, you can always save it if it's a document or something or an image or whatever, you can always save it to your Spanish drive, right? Or folder. You would just go to your drive, click on your folder, and then file upload. Okay. Or if you want to create for me a document, some slides or something like that, create it, you guys, in your Spanish folder. So you don't have to worry about where did I put it? I can't find it, blah, 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 right? And you can still share it to me. You can still download it and upload it back in Canvas or whatever it is, right? But if you have this folder, that's kind of like where you can save your work and do your work, and it'll be saved and you won't have to search your Chromebook all the time. Okay. All right. Any questions? Do I need to go through that again real quick, you guys? Are we good? Arshad, how about you, my friend? Okay. Jamarian, you good? All righty. All right. Are we ready to start, you guys? See? Ready to start? Okay. So once again, we're going to try to figure out, we're going to try to all get on like the same page. Okay. So now let me explain to you real quickly kind of what Miss Rovello does. Okay. Miss Rovello likes to, as a group, as a class, look for patterns in Spanish. Okay. Because if we can figure out the pattern of how, basically of how things work, it's a whole heck of a lot easier to remember what we need to remember. Okay. If we are trying to remember every individual word and every individual, how it works and, I mean, obviously we got to know meaning, but I mean, how things work, right? How are we going to put them in a sentence, whether we're speaking or whether we're writing or whether we're reading or whatever it is, right? We need to know the pattern. We need to know how it works. So those of you who had me last year, you probably remember that. The rest of us, I'm not sure how your teacher taught you. So we will, again, as a group, look for patterns, right? Just to help us out. Okay. All right. Any questions about what I'm talking about? Patterns. You'll see what I mean. Okay. So real quickly, one of the patterns or one of the things that we look for, you guys, is something called a cognate. So in the chat, have you ever heard that word before? Do you remember what it means? What's a cognate? Can you give me an example? Do you not know what the heck I'm talking about? Tell me, be honest, right? This is all easy, laid back, no stress, right? What's a cognate, you guys? Any ideas? Yes, very good. So it's a Spanish word that sounds similar to an English word, okay? It's also going to have a similar spelling sometimes, okay? However, the key is it has to have the same meaning, okay? If it doesn't have the same meaning, then it's what we call a false cognate, right? Or un amigo falso, right? A false friend, a fake friend, right? Because it looks like it should mean something else, okay? So the real key to a cognate is they have to look alike, they might sound alike, but the meaning has to be the same, okay? So real quick, let's just go through this again. I know, like I said, this is a review for some of us and maybe something new for some of us as well. So I'm going to share my screen and then you guys are going to have to do something with these. So pay attention real quick. All right. So here's our word cognate. All right. And you're going to hear me use this word all year long. So we need to make sure we know what I'm talking about. The trick to these, you guys, is they help us learn Spanish. How do they do that? If a word looks like an English word and it has the same meaning as an English word, That's like half our work is done, right? Like that's one word we don't have to memorize. You know what I mean? It's one word we don't have to think about. We can move on to something else. So when we read things and we look for cognates and we go, oh, okay, I get this because I get the main idea because I can recognize these words because they're similar enough. Okay. Okay. So a cognate is a word that means the same thing in multiple languages. It means the same thing because, again, they can look the same but not have the same meaning. Okay. So it's all about the meaning. So they can be spelled exactly the same way as, say, Spanish and English. They can be spelled a little differently. They can be pronounced a little bit differently, right? But again, it's all about the meaning. So let's look at some examples in Spanish, okay? So we have vacation, vacación. If I see that word vacación in a sentence or in a story, especially by the context of what I'm reading, I can realize that that's vacation. Okay. So you can see, you guys, that anything with a CION, again, remember, we're looking for patterns, right? Anything with a CION kind of corresponds to our TION. Do you see that? Formation, formación, motivation, motivación. Okay. Now let's look at this other one. Organismo, patriotismo. Okay. Well, look, ism, right? Ismo. So that's a pattern too. So again, that's easy to recognize. Organismo, oh, that must be organism, right? Patriotismo, oh, that must be patriotism. Okay, then you have words like organic or mechanic, and it could be organico or mecánico or whatever. Oops, I'm erasing. Okay, so again, we can recognize what those words are, right? Let's look at this Y ending: victory, tragedy, lottery. We can see it's an IA: victoria, tragedia, loteria, right? So once again, we're going to have a different way to pronounce it, way to say it. We're going to have a different spelling, right? But if we see it written, we can figure it out, right? That's the best part of a cognate for us, right? Let's look at some others. Yeah, I need to turn off my pen here. Okay, if we look at, why is this happening? It's interesting to me. Let's go back. I don't know. It's crazy. Well, I just won't use a pointer and let's see what happens. Okay, so actually, actualmente, perfectly, perfectamente, right? So we can see that ly in English is mente in Spanish. Okay. Importance, importancia, right? So we can see, you guys, these connections. Again, they're going to be spelled differently. They're going to be pronounced differently, but we can recognize what the word is. Okay. All right. Any questions about these? Okay. So in the chat or unmute, I may call on you to unmute. What do you think rápido means? You can pop it in the chat or I can call on you. Yes. Very good, Brooklyn. Good, Malia. Arshad, Jomarian, Marlacia, what do you say? Very good. Yes, rapid, fast. I mean, it looks exactly like that, right? We can figure it out. How about inventar? And we won't do all of these, but real quick, yes. Okay, so we can tell, yeah, that it has something to do with inventing. Inventar, right? Inventing. Now, it ends in an AR, and so that might clue us in that it's an AR verb being an action word, right? So in Spanish, to invent something, Okay, but we get the drift, right? Like if we're reading it in a larger context, that's going to help us figure out the fact that it's a cognate will help us figure out, well, it means something having to do with something about inventing something, right? Isn't that right, you guys? How about acción? What's that one? Good, Joe Marion. It's good, Marlasia. Good, Brooklyn. Arshad, haven't heard from you. What's acción? Very good. Action. See, you guys, you got this, right? So our first habit that we kind of need to get into when we read something, yeah, is to look for these words that we can recognize. And then we don't have to like stress over like every word, exact word, because if we have a sentence or a short paragraph that has 2 or 3 or 4 words that we can recognize their meaning, then we can figure out the main idea of the rest of the thing, right, that we're looking at. So it's all good, okay? Makes our life easier. Okay, now we have these amigos falsos. Boo, right? We have these amigos falsos. So false cognates are words that seem to be a cognate because they look similar in their spelling, right? But remember, the most important thing is the meaning. Okay, so if they mean something else, they're a false cognate. So let's look at these 3. I have recordar, pie, and embarazada. Now, if you were to see these in a sentence or a paragraph, what would you think they meant, any of them? If we're looking for cognates, you know, we're reading something, we're trying to figure out what these things mean. What do you think any of these would mean? Just your first gut reaction. Recordar, pie, or embarazada. What do you think recordar could mean? Yeah. Good, Marlasia. Good, Malia. Good, Brooklyn. Yeah, it looks like record, right? Or record, okay? But you know what it means, you guys? To remember. Remember, they're false cognate. This is the trick, right? They trick us. So we do have to pay attention to context, okay? The second word there looks like pie. It's not pie. Does anybody recognize what that word is in Spanish? Did you have that last year? Pie. Pie is our foot. So it's nothing to do with a pie, right? It's a foot. What about embarazada? What does embarazada look like it could mean? Any guesses? What's it remind us of in English? Embarrassed, right? Does anybody know what it really means? It means to be pregnant, right? So totally different meaning, yeah? So how can we know which are true cognates and which are false cognates, right? These are examples of false cognates, amigos falsos, right? Big friends. How do we know? We know by context. By context. What are we reading? Okay. So does it fit in with what we're reading? Okay. All right. Any questions about cognates, y'all, today? And like I said, we'll practice them over and over again. You'll have plenty of opportunity. So much so that it will be hopefully it'll become kind of like second nature to you. Okay. All right. All right. Let's stop thinking about those and let's go on to something else. Again, we're trying to do a quick review here. Okay. Let me change my background. Let's change my background. Oops. Okay. So y'all can see behind me, right? Can y'all make out the words behind me? Malia, can you see the words behind me? Arshad, Jamarian, yeah? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So question words in Spanish too are very important, okay? Because we'll do some Q&A. So if we're going to do Q&A, you got to know what the question is asking you, yeah? So our question this morning was, ¿Qué pintura te gusta más? Right? Which picture do you like, or which painting do you like better? Okay. ¿Qué pintura? So in order to answer the question, we got to know what it means. And that's what, when we were together on Monday, I tried to impress upon y'all that listening is super important. Okay. Listening is super important, because if we don't know what we're being asked, or we don't know what somebody's trying to tell us, we can't very well try to answer. Okay. So question words are super important. Okay. So let's just go through these real quick. Again, for those of you who were not with me last year, I don't know what you know and what you don't. So it's really extra important that y'all kind of give me some feedback today. Okay. So our first word is que, meaning what. And we're going to practice with these. ¿Por qué? Why? So it's two words, ¿por qué? Right? So in English, don't we say for what? Like, I bought this dress, right? We could say, well, why did you buy this dress? Or for what? You know, like for what purpose? Was there a certain dance or an event? For what? Right? So sometimes in English, we don't always say why, we can say for what. And so literally in Spanish, for, que what? Put them together, for what or why. Okay, so two words. Donde is where. De donde, from where. Cuando, which is when. I. So is there or are there, right? Is there snow in the mountains? Are there puppies in your backyard? I don't know, right? That word Hay. And if you don't remember any question word ever in your life to make a sentence in Spanish, this is the one you need to know. Is there or are there? Because you can reconfigure your sentence in such a way to ask the questions using this. Is there or are there? ¿Cómo? So how are you? Like, ¿cómo estás? Or we could say, ¿Cómo es Jomarian? ¿Cómo es Malia? Right? ¿Cómo es? What are they like? Okay. We could say, Malia es alta. She's tall. I don't know if you are, Malia. I'm just saying. We could say, Jomarian es inteligente, right? He is tall, he is intelligent. Okay. So that word como is not only like how you doing, but also what are you like? Okay. ¿Quién is who? And if we add an es to it, it becomes plural. So we're asking about more than one person. Okay. De quién. So to whom does this belong? I mean, nobody speaks that way in English, but they do in Spanish. So who does this belong to? De quién. So de quién es el libro, right? Whose book is this? De quién es el libro. So whose book is this, or who does this book belong to? Okay. Tiene. So if we remember the question, ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? And then we said, oh, tengo 13 años, right? I'm 13 years old. Tengo 13 años, but we can have anything. So if we want to ask somebody, right? You got any money? You know, ¿Tiene dólares? Do you have any dollars? ¿Tiene un libro? Do you have a book? ¿Tiene un perro? Do you have a dog? ¿Tiene un gato? Do you have a cat? Right? Do you have? Tiene. Okay, that's another useful one. And then if we want to, like, say which of the two, okay, I could have rewritten the question today. ¿Cuál? Right? Which painting? right? Which one do you like better? Instead of, yeah. So which is qual for singular and quales for plural, if we're referring to more than one thing. Which or what? Okay, qual. And then if we're counting something, or we're counting money or something like that, or we need to know an amount, it's going to be cuánto or cuánta. So let me ask you a question. How come there's two of these? How come one is cuánto, how much or how many, and one is cuánta? How come they're spelled differently, you guys? What's the difference here? Very good, Marlecia. Feminine or masculine and feminine. Cuánto, if we're talking about something that's masculine, if we want to know how many or how much. Cuánta, right? If it's a feminine. And then we would add the S if it's plural. Okay. Right? We know these things. Yay. And then if we're talking about like time, well, how much time do you need? Or how long is it going to take? Or, you know, something like that. How long would it take to drive from so-and-so to so-and-so? You know, cuánto tiempo, how much or how long, right? How much time or how long is it going to take? Cuánto tiempo. Okay. Any questions? And these are all in, you guys, these are all in your Canvas resource library. And this is what I mean about that resource library. Okay. It is your best friend, because remember what I said on Monday. If we start going to the internet for every little word and every little thing, we're going to start getting all kinds of random stuff that we're not responsible for. So in your module, you guys, Spanish 2, your resource library, look at all this stuff. I even put this week's schedule in here for you. Okay. Here's greetings, here's numbers, here's days of the week, etc., colors, cognates, right? All of this stuff. And I will add to them as we go through the year. Okay. And so this is your happy place, your resource library. Okay. So your question words are in here as well, right? That's where to go to find them. Yeah. All right. Any questions, you guys? All right. Well, let's just see. Wait, we have a short day today, don't we? Yeah. All right. Let's finish up here then. I got one more thing for us. I'm going to stop sharing. And let's just play a second. Let's just play. Okay, y'all ready? I'm going to share my screen. Okay. I got a spinner. Can y'all see my screen? Let me know if you can see it okay. Give me a thumbs up. Perfect. I got a spinner. And we got question words on this spinner. Okay. So I'm going to spin it. You can unmute or you can put your answer in the chat, whatever you feel comfortable doing. Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to spin. See where it lands. Okay. Cuando. Cuando estoy a la escuela, soy inteligente. Cuando. Anybody remember what cuando is? Guess. You can guess, or you can open your resource library. I think I put them in there. Yeah, very good, Brooklyn. When. Muy bien. All right, let me do a couple more of these because I know we're going to run out of time here. Real quick. ¿Quiénes? ¿Quién or quiénes? So it's obviously plural. What does quién mean? And it's behind me. I got the cheat sheet behind me, y'all. What is quién? ¿Quién? ¿Quién habla español, right? Who speaks Spanish? Muy bien. Who speaks Spanish? ¿Quién habla español? Okay. So you see what I'm saying, you guys? If we do Q&A stuff, you're going to see this background. It's like a cheat sheet for us. Okay. Just to help us remember things. Let me do it again. Cuál or cuáles. Cuál or cuáles. Cuál or cuáles. I need to hear from everyone. It's behind me. All you got to do is look. Reinforcement. Very good, Marlecia. Cuál or cuáles. Arshad, I'd like to hear from you. Very good. Which? Very good. Which? Which one? Right? Which one is better? Which one costs more? Which one do you like? Whatever. Okay. All right. One more. ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde? So what is dónde? ¿De dónde? ¿De dónde? Yes. Maria. So if dónde is where, yep, Arshad, then de dónde is from where, right? So if I say to you, yeah, where from? Exactly. ¿De dónde eres? Where are you from? ¿De dónde eres? Right? Where from? Okay, you guys, good job. All right, so tomorrow we'll get into some other things more specific, I guess would be the word, and do some review games in that. So I just want to remind you of a couple of things. We have about 4 minutes left. Is that right? Yes, because we're on a different schedule today. And so what I would like for everybody to do is join me in Quizlet, por favor. Join me in Quizlet. I mean, in Canvas. Did I say Quizlet? I meant to say Canvas. Join me in Canvas, por favor. All right, I'm going to share my screen. So take a look real quick. Please make sure you're in Canvas. Yesterday or Monday, we started this back to school escape room as a review. I think I got it from 2 or 3 of you. So just a reminder that we need to get that done. It's a good review for you, and you can use the internet for help on that. Today in our Let's Review module, we talked about cognates. Here is a quick Q&A, quick kind of review. Tell me what you learned about cognates. Okay. And then here's question words. There's a Quizlet and the slides. And here's a question word review. It's 10 simple questions. It's not a quiz. It's just in Canvas as a quiz. Don't worry about what it says there. And so again, it's just to reinforce what we did today, right? So 3 things, you guys. The escape room, the cognates kind of quick review thing, and the question words quick review thing. Okay. And remember, you always have the resources you need in the module we're working in. And then if you ever have to go back to something, then you'll find it in the resource library. Okay. All right. So any questions about what I'm asking you to do? All right. So we have a couple of minutes, you guys. Maybe you can finish up the escape room, or maybe you can finish up the activity on cognates. We're in the Let's Review module. I don't know why this is showing up. I need to fix that. That shouldn't be there. Okay, so it's this thing called Your Turn, and then this question words review down here. That's what I'm asking you to do. And then this was from Monday. So those of you new to Lighthouse, are you aware of what your schedule is today? Because Wednesdays has a different schedule, right? No ILT today. Okay. And if you need to double check, here's your week 1 schedule right here. Okay. So there's your Wednesday schedule. Right. If you guys need to take a picture of that or whatever works for you, or screenshot it, there you go. Oh, and just a reminder, you guys, if you didn't turn in like a first day selfie to Miss Gunnels, she's asking that we remind you. Also, if you are enrolled in SAT prep class, there's a message in your Canvas inbox that you need to check out. Okay. So if you are enrolled in the SAT prep class, you should check out a message in your inbox in Canvas. Okay. So head on over to second hour, you guys. Thank you for a great soft start to our school. Okay. Adios. Have a wonderful day. Nos vemos mañana, right? See you tomorrow. Nos vemos mañana. Adios, clase. Adios.